Hello, fifth graders. It's Mrs. Orozco, and I am going to be doing lesson 3-11 with you today. I am on page 95 in your fact cheetah, and I would like you to turn to that page and look at number 1. I'm going to go through the first 3 problems, and then you're going to do problems on page 96, okay? Let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 says, consider the division problem 2 divided by 5. So I'm going to think of a time when I would have 2 of something and I would need to divide it by 5. So let's say that I have 2 sandwiches. Here's my first sandwich and my second sandwich. They're like foot-long sandwiches, okay? I have 2 of them and I'm going to divide it by 5 because I have 5 friends that want to share these 2 sandwiches. So I'm going to make 5 cuts, or I'm going to have 5 sections. Remember, if I have 5 here, when I'm cutting this up, I'll make 4 lines. So let's do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces in the first sandwich and then the second sandwich. Now I'm going to shade what one friend would get. Remember, I have 5 friends. So this would be friend 1 would get this much sandwich. Okay. And then friend 2 would get this much, friend 3, and friend 4, friend 5, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I'm looking at this problem, I started with 5 parts, and each friend will get 2 parts. So 2/5 of the sandwich is what each friend will get. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. So before I do that, looking at 2 divided by 5, this is the same as making that the numerator and that denominator, okay? So anytime you have 2 whole numbers like that, the first one will be the numerator, the second one will be the denominator in a fraction, okay? And that fraction bar is the same as division. Okay, looking at number 2, I have the division problem 4 divided by 1/3. And I would think of a situation where I would have 4 cut into thirds. I would think about maybe if I was tying a bow on a present and I needed 1/3 of a yard to tie a bow on a present. If I have 4 yards, how many bows can I tie? Okay, so I know if I've got 4 yards, I'm going to put the 4 yards here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 yards, and I'm going to cut them into thirds because it takes me 1/3 of a yard to tie a bow on a present. So I'm going to go all the way down into thirds. 1, 2, and I have 1, 2, 3. Okay, those are thirds. Each piece, this is 1 whole, 2, 3, 4, 4 whole yards, and I know it takes 1/3. That gets me 1 present. Okay, this is, I can wrap 1 present with that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Looks like I can wrap 12 presents if I have 4 yards of ribbon. Okay, so what this would look like if I was writing it out would be 4, I would put that over 1, divided by 1/3. The reason I put that over 1 is because whenever you divide and multiply fractions, you should have the numerator over the denominator and then a numerator over a denominator, okay? Then you think of keep, change, flip, okay? So I'm going to keep the first one, change division to a multiply, and then I'm going to flip or find the reciprocal of 3/1, which would be, 1/3, which would be 3/1. And when I multiply that out, I get 12/1 or just 12, okay? And that kind of matches. So if I've got 12, I have 12 bows or ribbon gifts that I can tie if I have 4 yards of ribbon, okay? We're going to look at number 3, and that's 1/4 divided by 2. So I'd think of a situation where I had 1/4 of something that I want to cut into 2. In this situation, I could think about I have 1/4 of a pizza left, and I want to share it with my friend. So I have 1/4 of something. So here's my pizza. cut into fourths. I only have this. This is all I have. I don't have any of this other stuff, right? I only have this 1/4 right here. And if I look at this 1/4 right here, then I would say, I have to cut it into 2 pieces. So I would make one cut right there, 1 piece and 2 pieces. And if I were to look at this whole pizza that that is cut into fourths, and this piece now has 2, I would have 2, 4, 6, 8 pieces if I cut this whole thing up. So there would be, this person would get 1/8 of the pizza, and this person would get 1/8 of the pizza. If I was writing it out, this would look like this. I would put 2 over 1, because remember, we want numerator over denominator and numerator over denominator when we multiply and divide fractions. And then I would think of keep, change, flip. Keep the first one, change the second one to a multiply, and flip this, or find the reciprocal of 2 over 1, which would be 1 over 2, and that would give me 1/8. So if I shared a pizza, only 1/4 of a pizza with a friend, 2 people, we would each get 1/8 of a slice. All right, so to review, let's take a look. So I'm going to review the 3 different division problems I did that you'll find on the next page when you work on those. The first one is taking 2 whole numbers and dividing. Okay, remember, the first part will be the numerator, the second part will be the denominator. That's your answer. That's the fraction. Okay. The second one is when there's a whole number first and you're dividing it by a fraction. You're going to take the first number, put it over a denominator, give it a denominator, and then you're going to find the reciprocal. So keep, change, flip. In this situation, you will get a larger number than what you started with. Okay? In this situation, you're taking 2 whole numbers, you're going to get a smaller number than either of the 2 numbers you started with. Okay, there's one way, 2 way. The third way is when you start with a fraction and you divide it by a whole number. In this case, you're going to, again, numerator over denominator, both the numbers, and then you're going to keep, change, flip, or find the reciprocal. And your answer, when you start with a fraction and you divide by a whole number, your answer will always be smaller than both the numbers you started with. Okay? Let's try page 96.